Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Fuel for Success. It's Mike here with my good friend Matt in our virtual studio. I'm here in Studio 11 in beautiful Hastings, Minnesota, where it's minus 6 degrees, and Matt's in sunny Tampa, Florida, in our, what do we call it, the Palm Tree Studio, where, what did you say, it's 70 degrees there now?
Yeah, it's a rough day. It's 70. Um, so what made you name it Studio 11? I'm just curious.
Well, 11 is the funniest number ever, so I just went with it.
Okay. So glad to hear that you find 11 to be funny. Can you give us a 30-second version of what makes you laugh about the number 11?
Well, sure. Let's say you're telling a story, like an anecdotal story about, it took me forever to get here because I was following a guy because he was driving really slow. You could say something like, he was driving so slow, he was driving like 30 miles an hour. It's kind of funny. But if you say, dude, he was driving so slow, he must have been driving 11 miles an hour. Do you see the punch? It's got more kick.
I see it. I totally see it, my friend. It's good to see you,
Plus,
and it's good
11
to
is
see
a prime
our
number.
viewers out there. I love that they're interacting and connecting with each other. I think that's awesome. Glad to see that they're networking and connecting. So, Mike, we had a good long Mission 25 meeting last night till about almost 12 in the morning. And is that about what time we finished?
Yeah, it was around that. Yeah, it was a
Good.
great meeting, very productive.
Nashville Mission 25. We're going to a Nashville rescue mission where there's 120 battered ladies and about 20 to 30 children. Looking forward to that. Then we're also going to what they call the room at the inn. It's kind of a deal that helps feed the homeless. We're going to be taking fruit and water to over 300 homeless people and bags of blessing. And at our last Mission 25, we actually took 25 homeless people to breakfast. At this Mission 25, we're going to take them to lunch. So I think it's kind of cool to mix it up. It's either going to be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But we have a goal at every Mission 25 to take homeless people to lunch, breakfast, or dinner. That's going to be a lot of fun. Got a lot of really cool things happening with Nashville. I'm looking forward to it. Man, it's going to be here before we know it, my friend.
It's only like 14 days away, a couple weeks away. So, yeah, exciting stuff. It was God's opening doors all over the place, and I like that. We don't necessarily have a rigid schedule for everyone ahead of time, but we're seeing what doors God opens for us, and kind of following the Spirit in each city that we go to. So, and using local resources and those sort of things. So it's an exciting thing and interesting for sure. And of course, this is our 25th episode, so Mission 25, right?
Hey, this would be a good day for everyone to give a $25 donation in honor of Mission 25 on the 25th episode. Why not? Wouldn't that be cool if everyone that watched our Spreecast and loved it went and gave a $25 donation on
That'd be
our
cool.
25th episode in honor of Mission 25? And that wasn't planned. That just hit me when you said the number 25, my friend. So,
I was just looking at it behind me there, and I thought, uh, hey, it's our 25th episode. Fantastic. Matt, I was thinking yesterday was our 24th episode, and we do almost a 30-minute show every day, Monday through Friday, and of course today is life coaching and motivation. But we've put out almost 12 hours of content already, and we're getting a lot of great feedback from people. And we love to hear the feedback and the emails and the text messages and everything. So keep it coming, and we're trying everything we can to improve even and get better at doing this show. So thank you so much for all the feedback.
nice.
And I did get a correction from my brother who watched yesterday's show and said 24 is not Dale Earnhardt's number. That's Jeff Gordon, and I stand corrected. I am a NASCAR idiot. So there you go.
Yeah. We are NASCAR idiots. We made our major shout out to my boy David Tainer. I don't know how the dude got any sleep. He stayed up with me till about 1:30 last night trying to fix my Mac. Dude, my Mac has crashed. It's a tragedy. We're just praying that we can save the documents. Literally, I would go into like 2 weeks of mourning if I lost all of my stuff. Usually I back it up. I've just been so busy that I haven't slowed down to back it up, which is horrible. Yeah, we all need a moment of silence, David. I accidentally dropped it yesterday, transporting it from my office, and that's not a good thing. So my advice for life coaching and motivation is don't drop your computer. It wasn't even a huge drop. It was like from my waist down, but it must have done something. So.
Roy says buy a PC. I would say, Roy, that the hardware of the hard drive is exactly the same in a PC and a Mac, so that doesn't make any difference. But thanks for the advice. And hey, it does actually look like, see, everybody's saying it looks like we're in the same room, but see if I lean, I'm totally not there with Matt. Okay. The color sort of blends together.
Well, what do we got today, Mike?
Hey, well, today's Tuesday, and of course, every Tuesday we talk about life coaching and motivation. And I know this is a passion of yours. And I know you were joking, Roy. I was joking with you too. So I know this is a passion of yours. So I've got a couple of questions for you. I know you've done a lot of life coaching in the past, and I'm kind of wondering about, you know, how did you really get sort of started in life coaching?
Well, first of all, speaking of motivation, my son Caleb is extremely motivated right now. He's putting me to shame. Like, he woke up early this morning and I'm just doing things, and I go walking in the living room and he's literally sitting on the couch, turned on Apple TV and did a search, Secrets of Self-Made Millionaire. And that my 12-year-old son this morning at like 6:30 in the morning is like intensely watching Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires.
Wow.
I just looked at him like, what 12-year-old wakes up at 6:30 and watches Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires and is sitting there taking notes on his phone, cracking me up. He's really doing awesome with Kids with a Mission right now. So just major shout out to little Caleb. And if any of you out there have kids, man, connect them with Caleb, because he's really on the right path right now of motivating kids, and he's doing a great job with Kids with a Mission. So having said that, that's kind of what got me started in life coaching. Mike, we live once, my friend. We do training for almost everything except our life. Think about our education system. It's tragedy that we go through 12 years of school, and most of the things that we really need to know, we didn't have one class about. And so what got me into life coaching is I actually invested in a life coach, and it changed my life. I've had a lot of experiences, and I know I can help people, and I have. I know I can help people get out of their rut. I know I can help hold people accountable. I know I can help people get a hold of their life and get it more structured and balanced and manageable and fruitful and get more done and just live a more thriving, energetic, abundant, excited, purposeful life. I've had a blast life coaching. I could probably do it 10 hours a day. I love sitting down with people and helping them get to the next level with their life, man. So that's what got me started. Was about a year and a half ago, I came off the road. I used to travel every single week for a living. And I just had a very unique experience where my son, I felt like, needed me during that season of my life. He was really taking me traveling tough, even though I'd only be gone 2 nights a week. It was a mental thing. And I literally did not travel for almost a year. So I had to do something. And they always say, follow your passion. And I thought, you know what? I think I would make a really good life coach, and I think I can help people. And so, a lot of people laughed at, a life coach, and it's, but listen, a life coach is extremely valuable. It's so valuable, we dedicated an entire episode to life coaching, Mike, because some people may not be able to invest in a one-on-one life coach. If you have financial resources, whether it's me or I don't care who it is, but if you want the best, you're obviously going to go with me. You need a life coach, even if it's for a season of your life. I know some of the most highly successful people, Mike, have a life coach they meet with every week. Life coaches can help you keep you on point. They can help hold you accountable. They can help motivate you, help give you a different angle of looking at things, kind of help give you that jump start that you need, the encouragement, the insight, the principles, the coaching. You know, my son is really good at baseball, but that's because he has an amazing baseball coach, and he also has a hitting coach. So that hitting coach, he meets with him once a week for an hour, and he sees things that I don't see, that not even my son notices, and so it makes my son a better hitter. So life coach, really, Mike, what got me into it was my passion to want to help people and want to help people get out of debt, break through depression, negative emotions, overcome stress, live fearlessly, live with purpose, live with passion, how to find your passion, how to follow it, how to become successful, you know, how to be better in relationships. So I just took everything that I learned. I actually developed a life coach scoring system. In fact, let's do this, okay? Free, completely free as a give back to everyone that watches our show. If you're watching the show and you want to take my life scoring test, it's based on 27 areas of your life, all centered around spiritual, financial, physical, your health, your emotions, how well you manage time, how well you sleep at night, how often do you exercise, and you actually grade yourself and give yourself a grade on a scale of 1 to 10. So, I want you to email it. So why don't we do this, Mike? What would be the best way for us to email everybody watching a copy of that? You grade yourself, send it back to me. Just in doing that one thing will help immediately shock you into focus. Grading yourself where you know exactly where you are in life and what you need to improve on and what you're excellent at. See, Mike, we all have weaknesses. Most people spend all their energy trying to fix their weaknesses rather than dominating in their strengths. So I really want to encourage people to not be so sidetracked in your life by your weaknesses. Put more energy and focus in mastering your strengths, because that's where the game is. Mike, how should we do this?
I think the best way to do it is just to shoot me a quick email, mike@mattmaddox.com, and let me know you're interested in those questions, and I'll reply with a copy of that for you, and then we'll go from there.
Because they would open it up as an Excel sheet. They would take every area and be honest, brutally honest. You can't change until you're brutally honest. I mean, brutally honest. Don't grade yourself where you want to be. Grade yourself where you're at right now. Right now, right? So even though I believe in rest, right, I haven't been resting like I should. So right now, my brutal honesty answer to that would be on how well do you sleep at night? It would be about a 5 or a 6. That's what I'm talking about. So when you get it, give yourself an honest grade. And then you'll just know. You'll know, okay, this explains why I'm irritable. This explains why I'm gaining weight. This explains why I don't have enough time to spend with my wife. This explains why my kids are feeling distant from me. This explains why I'm not hitting my sales numbers. This explains why I don't feel close to God. It's just one of those things I developed, Mike, to help people stay on point and stay focused. So that's what got me into it.
That's good, and as you're saying that about the self-honesty and the transparency, that's not necessarily saying there's anything wrong with you. If you look at the whole concept of coaching, the greatest hitters in the major league, for example, you talked about baseball. I mean, the very top of the line, the top hitters in the major leagues still have hitting coaches, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They're the best in the world.
Actors have coaches. Musicians have coaches. I mean, anybody that wants to go into mastery. You know what? Let me throw this out there real quick, Mike. Let's ask ourselves an honest question. You ready? I'm really on the word mastery right now. Becoming a master, a genius in whatever it is you're going to do in life. Becoming the best in the world, or at least in the top 5, right? Most people will live this life, Mike, having never mastered anything, right? So that's concerning to me, that people live that mediocre level and that apathetic place of where they're content with good enough or just getting by, or they're content with average. So you're right. You don't have to be depressed and 70 pounds overweight and broke to all of a sudden invest in a life coach. You're right. Even highly successful people still do it because it keeps them on track and kind of gives them someone to talk to and kind of help hold them accountable for their goals. I have a coach.
That's good. And
areas of your life as you can. It's your life.
that's good. I'm sure everyone's going to appreciate getting those questions. Make sure you just email me at that email address, and we'll send those back to you. No weirdness or tricks. We'll just send them to you. So hey, let me jump topics just a little bit from a standpoint of, you talked about a lot of the things that you had to overcome and lessons that you've learned that have really helped you, helped you understand situations and be a better life coach. What So there's a lot of different possibilities of things that people may be going through, and a lot of folks may be suffering from loneliness, for example. What advice would you give someone that's battling loneliness?
You know, Mike, that is a very common battle that we all face. I've faced it. I've dealt with it. I've gone through the valley of loneliness. I mean, real loneliness. I'm talking like straight up the lowest level loneliness that a human being could face. I have faced it. What I always teach people, even when I do life coaching or if I'm talking to a friend that's going through something, I honestly believe, Mike, do you remember that scripture in the Bible where it says that Moses refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter? I honestly believe we're going to get in life the things that we refuse. There has to be an inner fire, even when the emotions say I'm depressed, I'm lonely, I feel empty, I feel sad, I cry and I don't know why I'm crying. I literally have gone through these experiences where I've been in a restaurant by myself, and that experience of going to the hostess and them saying how many, and that awkward moment of just saying one, it almost makes you feel like you're a loser, right? So, I've been at the table where you're sitting there and you're reading a book, then you feel like a dork because you're like in a restaurant reading a book by yourself, or then you're like just checking your phone. So, I've been through all that. It's not fun. But then again, that's right. Shelly made a very good point. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But Mike, the bottom line is you got to refuse. So I literally snapped myself out of it by literally having a self-talk. There's a scripture in the Bible that says David encouraged himself in the Lord.
Right.
And I literally said to myself, okay, number one, I refuse to be lonely. Even though I go through loneliness, but I refuse to be lonely. I refuse to live that feeling of loneliness. And just making up your mind sometimes and getting that inner passion of, I refuse this. I refuse to be depressed or lonely. That's step number one. Step number two is, honestly, Mike, a lot of it is because of what someone could be missing in their connection with God. What you'll find is most people that are really battling loneliness are not praying like they should, or they're not really having devotion with God like they should. And then, of course, don't forget what God said. Listen, God put a man in paradise. You hear me? There was no stress. There was no pressure. There were no deadlines. There was nothing intense about it. There was no problems. It was a perfect world. And God himself looked down at that man and said these words, "It is not good that a man should be alone." So God's viewpoint of loneliness is that it's not good. It's not the way God intended it. God put us in the world of relationships, and you cannot isolate yourself, and you cannot become an island to yourself. You need friends. You need family. You need to snap out of any kind of pity party or lonely, pool that you're swimming in and say, I have got to stay close to my family and friends and relationships. For me, Mike, because I was so tired, because I give so much, I went through a little season where I stopped hanging out with people just because I didn't feel like, being on or whatever, and I just was exhausted. I went through a year where I was so exhausted where I can't even tell you. I don't think people realize that year that I came off the road of travel, I was at the highest level of exhaustion that a human could be in, but it also led me down a path of loneliness, Mike, and I had to snap out of it, and I started getting back hanging out with friends, family, people. Rather than just being home, I would go to Barnes and Nobles, I would go to a coffee shop, I would go to the gym, and I would force myself to get out among people. I would force myself, even though I didn't feel like going to the birthday party or feel like going out to eat with everybody, I would force myself to do it. Little things like that, Mike. Those things that I've listed right now, people would do them, they would immediately break out of their funk of loneliness, in my opinion.
That's good. Shelley had mentioned, and you said you were going to come back to it, sort of being surrounded by people and still feeling lonely. Did you have something you wanted to mention about that?
Yeah, I mean that is a fact. I mean, I know people that they're lonely because something is missing. Here's the bottom line. You ready for this? If people are not fulfilling their purpose, you listening to me? If people are not following their passion, if they're not contributing, if they don't have big goals, and their life is not, let's say their life, remember the 4 areas, that's what we deal with in this show. Our spiritual life, our financial life, our health, our emotional life, our mind, right? When these things get out of whack and we're not doing what we're supposed to do, we're not in God's will, we're not fulfilling our purpose, right? It doesn't matter if you're surrounded by 10,000 people. You're going to feel a void. You're going to feel an emptiness. You're going to feel lonely because you're not fulfilling your purpose. And when you don't fulfill your purpose, that always leads to loneliness. When you're not following your passion, you're going to feel lonely. Even if you're married, even if your best friend comes and goes and plays tennis with you every day, there's going to be an empty, lonely feeling when you're not in God's will and you're not fulfilling your purpose. And my friends, what I just shared with you in the last 2 minutes can be life-changing if you would really listen to what I just said. Because what I just said, there's gold there. That's the real reason, my friends, that some people are fighting loneliness and emptiness is because they're not in their place and they're not fulfilling their purpose. And they don't have a dream that is huge, and they've just kind of gotten into a rut of life and they're not fulfilled. And when you're not fulfilled, you're going to feel lonely. When you're fulfilled, you're not going to feel lonely, my friends.
That's good. I like that, and I appreciate the chat, the comments that everybody's making. Absolutely a good point. Hey, let me just you had mentioned, and that's some great advice on loneliness, and I definitely agree with when you're fulfilling your purpose, that's when you're most energized in life, and when everything really seems to click the most for you. Jumping back a little bit, yeah.
Can I say one more thing? I forgot to say this, Mike. On the flip side of that, loneliness can be a God thing. Loneliness can be a gift. Remember, everything about God in our life is about seasons. That's why, and it really does sometimes come down to perspective, Mike. Sometimes when you're going through loneliness, treat it as a gift. Treat it as a refueling time to do some things you normally wouldn't get to do because You're always meeting demands of people, and you're always around people. So sometimes, remember, God speaks to us when we're alone. Oftentimes, Jesus got alone. Believe it or not, you need alone time. Even if you're married, you need alone time. Even if you're a busy person, you need quiet time. So don't get me wrong. There are times when loneliness can be a gift, literally from God, and some of your greatest moments and experiences and revelations and insights can come when you feel loneliness. And you can probably get closer to God than you've ever been when you feel the most lonely. So don't always view loneliness as some negative curse. Do the things that I shared, but also get the perspective that sometimes this season of loneliness is a God thing.
That's a great word right there. Hey, let me thanks, Travis. Some folks have been mentioning a message by Brother Cisco, so thanks for putting that link up there, Travis. So you had mentioned some of the things, lessons that you'd learned, and we talked a little bit about loneliness. You got about 4 minutes. I'm going to give you a time frame here to see if you can answer. What's your number one life lesson that you've learned so far on your journey, and the things that you've struggled through, and the things that you've battled?
Well, I was listening to a voicemail real quick about my computer. So Mike, the number one lesson, that's going to be hard on the spur of the moment, okay? This might change if we were sitting on the porch talking and I was in the flow sharing. So just right off the top of my head right now, probably the number one lesson that I have learned is probably 98% of the things that we worry and stress out about never happen. Looking back at all the energy I've wasted worrying or stressing, most of it never happened. And then, of course, another spin-off of what I just said is most of the people that you think are talking bad about you and that you think that don't like you, they're not even thinking about you. Not only are they not talking bad about you, they're not thinking about you. So my point is worry and the things that we fret about. And I think we're going to get to the end of life, Mike, and we're going to take our last breath, and there's going to be a feeling of just, I cannot believe that in my short life, I worried about the things that I worried about. Like, I literally live in the worst case scenario zone. My mind right now has a worst case scenario of almost everything in my life. You know what that does, Mike? That puts me at the greatest ease of, I already know what the worst case scenario is, and I'm prepared for it. I don't do that to be negative or pessimistic. I do that to settle my mind and to get my mind to a place where it's not going to worry about things, because I've already evaluated literally the worst case scenario, right? If this doesn't happen the way I want it to happen, if, whatever, and then my last thing would be, Mike, the number one lesson I've learned, and this is going to sound so cliche, you know what it really boils down to, Mike, is gratitude. Like, the most important thing in our life is that we are thankful and that we live in gratitude and we live in the moment. So that is my answer to a good question off the top of my head, my friend.
Travis says we have a minute or we're sleeping on the floor.
Oh, Travis. You're right, Travis. Travis holding our feet to the fire. Travis, good email you sent yesterday, my friend. I mean, when I read that, I thought, now that is a perfect email. I mean, perfect. Thank you for that. That meant a lot to me, and as a guy that was a good email, and I appreciate it. Guys, hey, we got 20 seconds. If you can afford it, go give a $25 donation in honor of episode 25 for Mission 25. I've never done this. I probably won't do it again, but I felt it. If you can afford it and you can still eat, and you're not going to lose your house over it, really do. Go give a $25 donation or any amount. As you know, we're doing 11 more missions trips. We live by our donations from our supporters, so hit us up. Hey, I can't wait for tomorrow, Mike. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about spirituality. I'm looking forward to that. I appreciate everybody that took time out of their schedule today to be with us. You're awesome. Continue to pray for us. We'll continue to pray for you. Go take these principles you heard today and live them, and your life will start getting better. Looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow at 11 a.m. for our show about spirituality. God bless you, my friends. FuelForSuccess.tv. Mike, good seeing you, buddy.
Good seeing you, Matt.